Get ready for an action-packed ride as we explore the top 10 most hazardous natural disasters. We've got our list locked down, and today we're kicking things off with number 10 avalanches. These powerful events are basically a snowball fight gone wrong. Massive amounts of snow, ice, rocks, and debris come crashing down mountainsides, building speed and size as they go. From heavy snowfall that piles up too high to strong winds that push snow masses over the edge, avalanches can be triggered by all sorts of natural causes that'll leave you breathless. But here's a harsh reality. Most avalanche victims aren't caught off guard by nature. They're often people who've triggered the disaster themselves while skiing or snowboarding in areas that are just too risky. And if you do get swept away, the odds of surviving aren't exactly in your favor. In fact, one of the deadliest examples is etched into history books. May 31, 1970, when a massive 7.9 earthquake shook Peru's coast and sent a monstrous avalanche barreling down the Huascarán Mountains, burying towns like Yonge and Ranrajerka under its deadly grip. This disaster, triggered by that devastating quake, still holds the title of Peru's deadliest natural disaster, claiming an astonishing 66,794 lives, with around 20,000 of those tragic fatalities directly linked to the avalanche, making it the most lethal on record. Busting some myths for you, loud noises don't actually set off avalanches, so don't worry about those explosive stunts. These deadly snowslides can strike at any time of year, not just during winter, making them unpredictable and potentially devastating all 12 months round. And here's another lesser-known trigger: wildfires. Yep, these raging infernos in the wild can also unleash an avalanche. Their scorching heat can weaken the ground beneath the snow, causing it to give way and send a massive snowslide crashing down. Let's dive into the wild world of wildfires. Now, you might be thinking of the Prestigo fire in Wisconsin back in 1870, one as the deadliest wildfire ever, and it's indeed one of the most devastating, with a staggering estimated death toll between 1,500 to 2,500 people. But did you know that the Indonesian forest fires of 1,997 were actually the largest on record? Spurred by an intense El Nido event, these flames engulfed nearly 20 million acres, leaving 240 people in their path. However, it's what came after that's truly mind-blowing. A toxic haze spread across Southeast Asia, potentially claiming up to 100,000 lives due to poor air quality. You might be surprised to hear that wildfires aren't all bad. In fact, they play a crucial role in nature's recycling process. By clearing out decaying materials and wiping out damaging pests, these fires help ecosystems rejuvenate and thrive. It's only when they encroach on residential areas that we consider them disasters. But now, let's talk about another natural phenomenon that's often overlooked: lightning strikes. They might not make the headlines as much as other disasters, but trust us, you won't want to miss this eye-opener. Hold on to your hats. We're about to blast off with some mind-blowing lightning facts. You see, when a lightning bolt strikes, it can reach an insane temperature of 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Still not convinced this deserves attention? Think again, because on average, lightning claims around 24,000 lives globally each year. And here's the thing, you don't have to be in a wide open field or right next to a storm to become a lightning strike statistic. Even your own home can become a danger zone during thunderstorms. Appliances and gadgets can act as conduits for electricity, making your house feel like a minefield waiting to happen. Lightning strikes can be unpredictable and stealthy. They don't care about your location or distance from the storm and can strike miles away. There are crazy cases where people have been hit while still a safe distance from the thunderstorm. But it's not just direct hits that we need to worry about. Lightning can also spark fires, both in buildings and out in wildland areas. One of the most tragic instances of a lightning strike was in Uganda back in 2011, when 18 children and their teacher were killed at school from a direct hit. And if you think that's shocking, here's another mind-blowing fact: a single lightning bolt is believed to have ignited an astonishing 90 tons of gunpowder inside the church of Saint Insert Name, resulting in devastating consequences. You won't believe this next fact. In 1769, a massive explosion rocked the church of St. Nazaire in Italy after a lightning bolt ignited an enormous 90-ton stash of gunpowder, claiming up to an astonishing 3,000 lives. But while lightning can be deadly, here's some hope out of over 200,000 people struck by lightning each year. Only about 1 in 10 lose their lives. That's a pretty small chance if you ask me. Let's dive into something that gets our hearts racing: tornadoes. Now, we're not going to sugarcoat it. These twisters straight up freak us out, but don't let fear get in the way of fact-checking. Being super scary doesn't automatically make you the most dangerous. Tornadoes pack one heck of a punch, boasting the strongest winds on our planet. That's right, they blow away any other natural wind. The Bridge Creek Moore tornado from 1999 still holds the title for the record-breaking speed at an astonishing 300 miles per hour. That's mind-bogglingly fast, folks. So, let's put this into perspective. While hurricanes pack some serious punch with their 215-mile-per-hour winds, tornadoes blow them out of the water at an incredible 300 miles per hour. Now, we all know being scary doesn't make you the most powerful, but what makes tornadoes particularly infuriating is how they can be so brutal in one spot and completely spare another. It's like a twisted game of house roulette. Your home might get reduced to rubble, while the ones right next door are left untouched. Take the devastating 1989 tornado that hit Dhaka, Bangladesh, on April 26th. It's estimated that this monster took around 1,300 lives. The impact was so severe, and the aftermath heartbreaking. Get ready for some winter wonder warnings. Don't let the serene snowflakes fool you. When they're packing a punch in the form of a blizzard, things can get seriously intense. Technically speaking, a blizzard is just an extreme snowstorm that's clocking winds at over 38 miles per hour, sticking around for at least 3 hours, and making it almost impossible to see what's coming next. That's right, we're talking near zero visibility, which means your usual winter wonderland can turn into a survival situation in the blink of an eye. Think of blizzards as the frosty, force to be reckoned with cousins of hurricanes. These winter warriors pack a punch that's just as deadly, but way chillier. They can freeze you out with risks like hypothermia and frostbite. Slippery streets become treacherous trapdoors for drivers, power lines get knocked out, stranding people in the cold, and in mountain towns, avalanches are just waiting to strike. And when all that snow eventually melts, get ready for a whole new kind of storm: floods. Yep, the thaw can unleash torrential downpours, turning your winter was into springtime disasters. You might think blizzards only wreak havoc in snowy hotspots like New York or Chicago, but the deadliest one actually hit an unexpected place: Iran. In February 1972, a brutal combo of long, freezing temps and winter storms left nearly 4,000 people dead. That's right, this extreme weather event took more lives than you'd expect from a country not exactly known for its snowfall. The lesson here: blizzards can pop up anywhere, bringing with them life-threatening conditions that'll put your winter wonderland to shame. Let's give landslides the recognition they deserve. These natural disasters are silently taking lives, and it's time to bring them out of the shadows. Often, landslides get pushed aside when we talk about the biggies like wildfires, floods, or earthquakes. But here's the bombshell: landslides are actually killing more people than both wildfires and tornadoes combined. Now that's a staggering truth. Even the deadliest blizzards and floods have left behind fewer lives lost compared to these slow-moving yet stealthy disasters. It's time we face the reality of landslides as one of the most lethal forces of nature out there. Get ready for a landslide record that will blow your mind, literally. On December 16, 1920, an earthquake of epic magnitude 7.8 struck Haiyun County in China, unleashing hundreds of landslides like a devastating domino effect. One of these catastrophic slides claimed a heart-wrenching nearly 100,000 lives, making it the most fatal landslide in recorded history. The total death toll from that day's earthquake: an astonishing 235,000 people, putting it just behind the deadliest disaster of the 20th century. That's what happens when nature unleashes its full fury. Let's talk about volcanic eruptions, the fiery force of nature that's a guaranteed one-way ticket. But here's the thing: despite their deadly power, they actually have a relatively narrow impact zone, making them easier to predict and prepare for. So why do they rank fourth on our list? It all comes down to numbers. Now, Meet Mount Tambora, the 1,815 Indonesian volcano that unleashed its fury, becoming the deadliest volcanic eruption in recorded history with an epic 7 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index (VEI) scale, a feat that's only happened once in the past 1,000 years. But that's not all. Mount Tambora's massive blast had far-reaching consequences, making 1,816 the infamous year without a summer. A chilly summer with snowfall in July and August sounds like something from a sci-fi movie. But this was real life, and it led to disastrous crop failures worldwide. The impact was devastating. Widespread famines swept across the globe, and epidemics took their toll. While direct fatalities from the eruption were around 10,000, the ripple effects of Tambora's fury claimed countless more lives in the years that followed. But here's the kicker. Those initial 10,000 fatalities were just the beginning. The real tragedy unfolded in its aftermath. Famine, disease, and bitter cold claimed nearly a whopping 100,000 more lives. Mind-blowing, right? And as we're about to explore even more volcanic wonders, remember that these powerful forces of nature can create breathtaking beauty. Think stunning lava falls like the ones in Hawaii, but also unleash fury on an unprecedented scale. Next up, you were expecting the top spot for earthquakes, weren't you? They're notorious for being unpredictable and historically deadly. But here's a twist. We're not ranking them number one because, despite their ferocity, we can prepare for quakes and reduce damage significantly. So, what really kills people during an earthquake? It's not the shaking itself, but rather the devastating secondary effects: collapsing buildings, crushing debris, fires sparked by ruptured gas lines, and being trapped under rubble. These are all consequences that can be mitigated with proper building codes, evacuation plans, and disaster drills, making our next contender a more formidable force of nature. Now that we've talked about quakes, it's time to highlight how smart city planning can turn these powerful forces into mere bumps in the road. Look at countries like Chile and Japan. They're no strangers to massive earthquakes, but thanks to their forward-thinking approach, fatalities from these disasters are a rare occurrence. In fact, well-designed buildings and evacuation strategies have helped them minimize damage and save countless lives. To put this into perspective, consider the earthquake that shook Shaanxi, China on January 23, 1556, a staggering magnitude 8 event. But let's take a trip back in time to the earthquake that hit Shaanxi, China on January 23, 1556. It's one of history's deadliest quakes, with an estimated 830,000 people losing their lives. The main reason for such devastation was largely due to ancient living arrangements. Many folks resided in caves, making them extremely vulnerable during the disaster. Now that we've touched on earthquakes, let's dive into another natural force that can cause massive destruction: water. We all know how crucial it is, right? It covers 71% of our planet and makes up 70% of our bodies, so you could say it's pretty much our BFF. Get ready for some major facts. Tsunamis are actually the world's #1 feared natural disaster, and it's no surprise why. These powerful waves can reach opening heights of tens of meters and move at lightning-fast speeds of hundreds of miles per hour. Let me tell you about the deadliest tsunami in recorded history, which hit on December 26, 2004. Remember that date? It's known as the Boxing Day tsunami, causing an unthinkable 230,000 fatalities. Think tsunamis are the only game changers. Hold up, floods might seem less intense at first, but trust us, they pack a massive punch and can strike anywhere, anytime. All it takes is heavy rainfall in the wrong spot, and boom, disaster hits. Now let's talk about our top pick for ultimate natural disasters: tropical cyclones. Known by different names like hurricanes, typhoons, or cyclones, these powerful storms are not to be trifled with, and we're just getting started on why they reign supreme. Get ready to meet the trifecta of terror. Tropical cyclones bring not one, not two, but three devastating forces: powerful battering winds, relentless torrential rains, and massive towering surges that can keep you on edge for days. And here's the kicker: these storms can affect thousands of miles, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Now, we know tsunamis pack a huge punch with their destructive power, but tropical cyclones take it up a notch by even spawning tornadoes. Considering all this and more, in our book, they're the most treacherous natural hazards on the planet. On November 12, 1970, a monstrous Category 4 cyclone known as Bola cyclone, made landfall in what's now Bangladesh, but back then was East Pakistan, leaving behind a heart-wrenching devastation that still echoes today. Official records show around 500